Hello, my name is Ryan. Today I'm going to talk about the book Who Was Walt Disney. I used Kindle to read this book. It was like this. Who was Walt Disney? Okay, so I was Walt Disney.
Okay.
So I type into it and okay. Okay. So everyone knows Disney cartoons, do we? Everyone knows Disney cartoons. And Disney was made, the founder of Disney cartoons was Walt Disney. Walt Disney had found the Disney studio. Walt Disney was born in a farm in Missouri, and his birthday was December 5th in 1901. It was and it's almost the World War I, almost. And he was born in this farm. His dad was a farmer. He loved Missouri, but they had to he was born in Chicago, and then he need to move to Missouri, and he loved the childhood in Missouri. He rode on pigs, and every time he will fall into the mud. And I think that's
fell into the mud.
Yes. And when Walt was little, he loved to draw. He loved to draw and act. He can act it very well and draw very well. One time his brother Roy had some idea with him to act Peter Pan. So Walt was Peter Pan and Roy was back of the stage and pull him with a rope. And then the rope broke and Walt fall right into the audience. But so the audience was really angry. And when he was little, he had 3 haircuts because he drew pictures for the haircut stores. For the haircut store, he drew many people there that went to the haircut store. And when he grew a little bit older, he became a newspaper boy when he was 9, because his father, Elias, was sick. And so so Walt's mother, Flora, need to sell the farm. and Walt need to be a newspaper, and he sometimes slept in front of his neighbor, on his neighbor's steps outside of the door of the, he slept, and then when he woke up he ran back to home, his school bag and go to school, or he'll be late. And Walt can't pay attention on the class. He always drew some pictures on the corner of the page of the book, and he drew it, then he flipped it, then and this is the first cartoon he made, because the people moved of the cartoon. And when he grew up, he needed to find a job in the post office. The first time he went to the post office, the boss said no because he's too young. Then he came home, and then he went home and get some mustache, stick it on his chin, and wore a hat on, and wore suits. Then he looked older. Then the boss said, yes, you can call me the same person, the same boss. And Roy...
So he got a job.
Yes. And then Roy went to World War I. He went to French because the United States joined World War I. And his brother Roy went to Europe. Then Walt wanted to go to the war too. The war, it seemed like an adventure to him, to Walt. So he wanted to join the war, but he was too young for it. So he drove the ambulance in French. But when he arrived France, the World War I, Germany and Italy has surrendered. So the war was
Surrendered.
Has surrendered. And so the war was so it ended. And Walt had a friend who was called he and a friend found helmets of German soldiers, and they collect them, then sell them as war souvenirs. Then all his friends was called Up Airworks. Up means very shy and serious, but not like Walt. But all they had become friends. Then they create a company, a small company, only Walt and Up. Only Walt and Up was in the company, and they helped to create ads and signs. But they had no customers, so the company had closed for just 1 month. Up and Walt found a job in Kansas, a side company. It was a lucky break. It changed Walt's life, and he learned all about animation, which was like cartoons, small cartoons. Animation is many artists do write many things. Then about 1 second of an artist need to draw 18 pictures. Then he quickly flips it, and it's just like it's moving. This is called animations. And Up and Walt did animation. And Walt wanted to know how to make animations, so he read animated cartoons, how they are made, their origin and development, by Edwin G. Tust. And he studied it all day. Then he set up a studio behind his house in the shed. Then every evening he drew cartoon characters, and he made his own animation. And his cartoons was called laughograms. They were silent, no voice, full of slapstick, humor, and only last a couple of minutes, so it's very short. But it takes a lot of drawing. Then he sold it to the theaters in Kansas City. So he started up a small company and make more animations. But he needs some artists to draw cartoons for him. Otherwise, he will be so busy that he couldn't. He will be so busy that he might be sick. But no customers came too. So Up and other few young men joined Walt business, and all day Walt was thinking about jokes, goofing around with a movie camera. Then Walt were a cartoon animation called Alice's Wonderland. It was about a little girl named of Alice and was a 4-year-old actress named Virginia Davis. And the company went bankrupt. He needed to sell his movie camera. Then he knew he needed to go to the center where movie was made. It was Hollywood.
The kingdom.
The
The
Hollywood
kingdom
side.
of movies.
Yes, Hollywood. After World War I, Hollywood was the kingdom of movies. Most movies were made there. So Walt bought a ticket to California. Then he packed up his clothes and drawing materials, and because he can live there because his father Roy was already there, so he need paying a few dollars a month for room and board. And then in October, a woman named Margaret Wilker liked Alice's Wonderland and she bought it, and then she said she'll sell it to the movie theaters. This is a good news for Walt. Walt only had 3 months to make a new film. Roy was 8 years older than Walt, and Roy helped Walt. So they two formed a Disney Brothers studio. Then they got some money from their uncle and their parents, and then they got a small office in Kingswell Avenue, and Walt got himself a movie camera. I'm going to talk about Leland's Bounce. Lillian was a girl who was printing Walt's movie there. She worked in Walt's office. she worked in Walt's studio, and then Walt was worried that his own drawings weren't good enough. He always told to draw for him. He was talented and fast. He can do great drawings. When Walt was thinking of what will draw everything Walt wanted him to do. And then he made a series of old Walt cartoons. It was a series of Walt cartoons, and Old Walt was a big hit in the United States. The studio began selling cartoons and the business was good, and Walt and Roy could move to a bigger office in Hyperion Avenue. And Walt changed the name of the company. He wanted to change into Walt's Disney Studio. Roy didn't mind, so Roy said if that's the way you want it, it was okay with him. After all, Walt was the person who was making cartoons, not Roy. But that Batman had brought Oswald. He hired some of Walt's workers, and he could draw Oswald, and so Walt couldn't do it. He was so sad that he couldn't eat or sleep. But the Batman wasn't again alone. But it was still wrong. And he is going to make a new character. Only Roy and Lillian will know what is the new cartoon. The new character is going to be a mouse. I know you know what is it. The mouse was named Mickey. This is Mickey. And Mickey Walt wanted to name Mortimer, but Lillian thinks it's fancy. It must. She thinks it must be named Mickey. So we call Mickey Mouse today. And Mickey was at first Mickey was a greedy, naughty character. But when it was famous and Mickey was everybody's hero, he needed a character that is naughty, greedy, and rude, same as Mickey, the old Mickey. It was Donald Duck. So the first cartoon of Walt of Mickey is Plain Crazy. It is all silence and black and white. And the cartoon character was just like Charles Lindbergh was the first person to fly across the Atlantic Ocean. And as manager of a theater in Ocean Park, California, he invited kids to the theater and watch hours of Mickey cartoons. And the members of the club was called Mickey Mouse Club. And this is the Mickey Mouse Club cartoon in the cartoon clubhouse in the cartoon. And there was a pledge of the Mouse Club. Mickey Mouse do not swear, smoke, cheat, or lie. And there was a club song too. So kids went crazy buying Mickey Mouse dolls, buttons, pencils, toothbrushes, and books. And he had lots of money, and he wanted to do a bigger thing. And it was just in the beginning. And Walt Disney Walt had lost Oswald. He was going to get away because Up had been hired. Because when Walt wanted to give a signature with a picture, when a child wanted Walt to give him a signature and a Mickey Mouse on it. So he told Up to help him draw Mickey Mouse, and he'll sign it. That made Up very angry. And losing Up was almost the Mickey cartoons Mickey cannot go. So Mickey cartoons cannot continue making because of Up. And Walt was very sad too. He was very, very sad because Up was his friend long ago. He was his old friend. And the three little pigs had a very the three little pigs. The three little pigs was very good. And in the cartoon, it was a song of who's afraid of the big bad, and people came out of the theaters humming and whistling the tune. And because it was the time when people need to cheer up. It was a time called the Great Depression, which was many people who lost their job and had no home to live in. Then, because he got many money, because of the television. The television, everybody can have one. So everybody can watch the Disney cartoons. So Walt got a lot of money that he can buy a home for his mothers and his parents, and they can have barbecue outside in the yard. And Snow White was very good because it was very fun. People thought it was very funny and very good. There are parts where people can cry or hold their breath in fear. And everybody liked it. And Snow White had made so many money that Roy and Walt can buy 51 acres of land for a new studio in Burbank, California. People in the old days, the Disney employees worked closely and felt like a family. But when they moved into the big studio, it seems that it was a big factory. And World War II had been reigning in Europe. The market for Disney films dried up, and the employees were angry. They say they would stop working if Roy and Walt don't listen to their complaints. And the people stand out of the studio, and then when Walt drove in here, the workers hit him and hit the car. That made Walt very, very, very terribly sad. And Walt happy when he took his kids to the merry-go-round. He get a horse and ride too. He was so happy. Let you think, if I can make a park like the park like the Griffith Park, he wanted to make it too. So he made this Disneyland. He made Disneyland, and every children went to Disneyland and they had so much fun. And sometimes he took his daughters to Disneyland, and when everybody was gone, when everybody went home, so they can have an adventure in Disneyland, only of Walt and his daughters. And Disney and Walt was very old now, but he couldn't stop working. It was so fun. But he needed to retire, so Walt and Lillian has spent his life with his grandparents, and then he died on December 15, 1966. He was 65 years old. And Walt Disney became Disney became so popular then, and then people still watch Disney cartoons. And thank you for listening.